Welcome back, students. Here's another video, but this time we're going to focus on solving equations with variables on both sides. The code for this is 7S7 if you're in Algebra 1. Now, the problem we have in front of us is negative 9y minus equals negative 10y minus 6. Our goal here is to get the variable by itself. Now, there's many ways we can look at this problem. If you look at it, there's things that you probably learned from your previous teachers, but what I'm going to do is try to stay consistent with the previous lessons. Here we go. I have a y on the left and I have a y on the right. I want to put them together, but I want to isolate it at the same time. In other words, I want to get the y's by themselves away from the numbers with no letters. So I'm looking at this problem and I go, you know what? If I put the y on the left-hand side, it will be by itself. So I need to move this negative 10y. But when I talked to you before, whenever I move something to the other side of an equal, think of it as a mirror effect. So what is the opposite of negative 10y? It would be plus 10y. That means this right-hand side is gone. And now we can just work it out. 10y minus 9y is 1y. And we don't need to write the 1. And we have negative 6. And y is by itself. We're done. We can just go back in and put in negative 6. Now, please don't leave any space in between. Just put the negative and the 6 on your IXL and it will accept it. So let's go through this one real quick. 2r equals r plus 4. We want to get the r by itself. And I see if I move the r to the left, it will be by itself away from all numbers without letters. So I'm going to get rid of plus r by doing the opposite, the mirror effect. This will cancel these out. We have 2r minus 1r, which is just r, and then we have 4. That was pretty simple. And we go ahead and submit that. Let's see if we can get into a little more challenging. These look the same. I'm going to jump to make this video shorter. Here we go. V minus 10 equals 10 minus 3v. Now, I don't care where you move your letters, if you want to move it to the left or the right, and it's just your preference now because I have everything on both sides. My preference is always to move the letter to the left-hand side. So I'm going to go step by step. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of minus 3v from the right. To get rid of minus 3v from the right of the equal sign, you got to add it. So I'm going to add it to the other side as well. Now, if you notice, this is gone. And on the left-hand side, I have to understand the variable can only add with its same variable. It does not add with this 10 or this negative 10. So I have 3v plus 1v. We see there's a 1 that we don't see. So 3v plus 1v is 4v. Drop down the minus 10 equals 10. Now we're back to what we did in the previous lesson. Got to get v by itself, so let's move that negative 10 on over by doing its opposite, plus 10 to both sides. So we have 4v equals 20. 4 times v, so the last thing is times, so we divide by 4. So v equals 20 divided by 4 is 5, and there's our answer. So this lesson is just building upon everything we've previously done already. This one looks really messy, but let's fix it up. So we have the following, and here we go. Remember what I said earlier in previous videos and in this one. If you see your two different sides, the first thing you need to do is combine like terms if possible. If I look here, I have this 8 and this negative 9, they're both on the left side, and they both have no variable. So let's combine those. That means I don't need to move anything. I don't need to flip it. I don't need to do its opposite. I'm just going to put them together. So what is 8 minus 9? 8 minus 9 is negative 1. And then we had a negative 3p. So these two will combine to make our negative 1. We drop the negative 3p equals negative 2p minus 10. Now we have our new problem. Move the variable wherever you want. I'm going to move it to the left. So I'm going to add 2p. Why am I doing the opposite? Because I am moving something now, and it is changing from one side of the equal sign to the other side of the equal sign. When I do that, I have negative 1 minus 1p equals negative 10. And now I need to move this negative 1 to the other side of the equal sign. So if you read it as negative 1, or if you read it as minus 1, you can think of the opposite as plus 1. And I do it to the other side. So those cancel out, and I have negative 1p equals negative 9. Remember, you don't need to write that negative 1. You could have just wrote negative p. Now, here's where students sometimes forget. You did all this work, and you need to remember the variables, when we isolate them, must always be positive. So I need to change this to make it a positive p. Well, think about that. This is really negative 1 times p equals negative 9. And I want to get rid of the negative 1. So divide by negative 1. When you divide by negative 1, these will cancel out, and we will get p by itself. And now we have negative 9 divided by negative 1. Go back to your triangle if you forgot, and you cover up the negatives because we're using negative negative, so cover those two up. And what's left over? A plus sign. So we have a plus. 9 divided by 1 is 9, and your answer is 9. You can go back and enter that, and there you go. Let's skip to see if there's anything more challenging that we need to worry about. No, but let's just do this one just to get the hang of it. In this case, where do you want to move the variable? To save time and less work, I would say move the variable to the right-hand side. Now, because the right-hand side has no other number, only letters, we're going to move the 17g to the right-hand side. If you said subtract 17g, you are correct, because we need to do the opposite of plus 17g to get it to the other side of the equal. Now we have 20 equals 13 minus 17 is negative 4g. And now we need to isolate the g by itself. So divide by negative 4. Divide both sides by negative 4. And we are down to this is gone right here. And we're back to our little triangle again. So I got a minus, minus, and a plus. If you look here, this is plus 20 divided by negative 4. Cover up a plus and a minus sign, and what's left over in the triangle? A minus. So this here is a negative answer. 20 divided by 4 is 5 equals g. Or you can rewrite it if you want as g equals negative 5. Go ahead and submit that in our IXL. Click submit, and there we go. These other problems all look very similar, and this is the same thing. They're just trying to make it a little bit more complicated, but you can use a calculator or you can use paper pencil. You guys are bright enough to do that. I have faith in you. And that should take care of this. Oh, let's do this one. I'll do one more. Sorry about that. Here we go. Let's see. We got 5n plus 2 parentheses 8n plus 7 equals 19n. Let's consider this last one our challenge problem. In this problem, you should notice that there is a parenthesis and something in front of that parenthesis to distribute. That must be the first thing we do. This is the first time we're seeing this type of problem, so I'll go a little bit slower. Anytime you see a number or a letter or a sign in front of the parentheses, you must distribute. And if you forgot what distribute means, it means to multiply it to everything inside. So let's rewrite this problem. We got 5n plus 16n plus 14 equals 19n. Where did I get the 16n? 2 times 8 is 16. Where did I get the 14? 2 times 7 is 14. So this here is our new problem. Now let's think about what we said in the past. If I have things on the same side, I can combine them. So here's my equal sign, and I look on the left, and I see I have an n here and an n here. They're already on the same side, so I can combine those first. I don't need to change any signs. I just combine as is. This says 5n plus 16n. 5 plus 16 is 21n plus 14 equals 19n. Now we have a decision to make. How do we want to move things around? Well, I want to get the letters by themselves, so I'm going to move it to the right-hand side. If you move it to the left-hand side, that works as well. You just have to do a little extra few steps. So let me move 21n to the right-hand side of the equal. If we move something on the opposite side of the equal, yes, I know I've said it a million times, but you all know now, you do its opposite. You cancel these out. You have 14 equals negative 2n. Now we want to isolate the n by itself. This is negative 2 times n. Okay, some people will say plus 2 on there. You do not add 2. You have to remember this is negative 2 times n. So you must divide by negative 2. You do it to both sides of the problem. These will cancel out. And if you need that little triangle again, go back to that triangle. This triangle works for every multiplying and dividing of signs. We have plus 14 divided by negative 2, plus 14 divided by negative 2. Plus and minus are used. We have a negative sign left. Now 14 divided by 2 is 7 equals 9. I'm sorry, equals n. So n is negative 7, and we can click submit. And there we go. This problem is a little bit more complicated because it has one more step or so. I will do this one, and I'm gonna say this is the very, very last. So if you're already done with your IXL and you don't need to do this, that's fine. But if you review this, it should help you for future. This is a type of problem you'll see in college math anyways. So we got 4 negative 18y minus 13 equals 7 times negative 11y plus 1 plus 4y. This time, I'm going to stay quiet and I'm just going to work this out. And I want you to try to think of what I'm doing as I do this problem. Hopefully, you're getting every step as I'm going through it. And now let's check if my answer is correct. And there we go. So in this last problem, I didn't want to explain it. I wanted to see if you can think conceptually of what each step was. That way, if you understood yourself on how to say the steps that I was doing, then I think you should be in good hands and you can trust yourself doing these assignments. Hopefully, this lesson made sense, and I wish you best of luck in your assignment. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email me or contact me through Schoology.